psychedelic going on behind you.
No, so I wanted to kind of show, like, I wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page. And I wanted to kind of just take out and highlight some things that we'll be taking that's going on in our community. So, what I would like to do is call the meeting to order. I want to first say thank you to everyone who attended. My name is Khadijah. I am the chair for the Community Public Safety and Transportation Committee.
Mhm.
Um, I want us to do a roll call, but the struggle that I'm having in regards to getting this roll call, in regards to having to remove people off from and taking them
You
off
have
so
to.
that we do not have that roll call of having to meet a quorum
Yes.
of 40 is kind of a little ridiculous. So
Yes.
I'm working closely, trying to figure out what's the next option because I've sent several emails to members, but some have responded, some haven't responded, and I just can't take them off
Yes.
automatically. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going back and forth with our chair in regards to what does that look like.
Yeah, I hear you.
So our
Joy's all about that.
yes, so I have the chairman's report. We already know that we can't do an approval for meetings for minutes from since June of 2024, which is a pileup because we're now about to be in
Mm-hmm.
June a year later.
That's
So I want us to, the agenda is to talk about any co-namers. We just had one recently, any TLC applications, which there really isn't none. New business, and then we'll go to Detective Skinner and then Inspector Brian O'Sullivan.
oh, he
And
came.
then unfinished business. I believe so. I was told that he will be here.
Oh, that's the one with the Ronald O'Sullivan is the one with the traffic.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm shocked.
So what I wanted to kind of do was to give you guys a better understanding of what's been going on in regards to initiatives that are taking place in our community, well, throughout the whole of New York City. So they're still doing more initiatives in regards to the Vision Zero initiative and street
Mm-hmm.
safety. We
Yep.
all kind of are aware of the Fair Fares program, the new transportation project tracking, some residential parking permits for northern Manhattan, even though it doesn't really have to do with us, but for people who do work and may drive into the city, I wanted to kind of bring that into your perspective so you can see it. And then
Yes.
also some of the things that they're talking about in regards to the sidewalk shed management.
Well, I hate them things.
So some of these things are the transportation key initiatives. Is the first one was the street safety and infrastructure. New York City Council has called for the investment in street safety infrastructure, such as more daylighting and traffic calming measures, particularly in
Yes.
communities
Yes.
disproportionately impacted by traffic violence. They have
Yes.
also advocated to increase the funding for Vision Zero education and outreach to prevent traffic fatalities. So I would like to reach out to them so see if they'll do a presentation in regards to the Vision Zero education. In regards to the fair fares, the council has consistently advocated for increasing support in the Fair Fares program, which provides a 50% subsidy on public transit fares for eligible low income residents. They have proposed expanding the eligibility fare to include New Yorkers living at a 200% of the federal poverty level,
Mm-hmm.
um, which is a lot. So if you are or you haven't had anyone, please reach out to me or send me an email in regards to Fair so we can give you all the information that's needed so you can sign up. Sidewalk sheds. Legislation has just passed to improve the safety and efficiencies of the sidewalk shed management. In regards to that one, it's a little interesting because of the simple fact that what they're now doing is now putting it into a committee. The committee will then, restaurants will then put in an application, pay a fee, and then they can use the shed for at their discretion at any given way that they want to. And there's really nothing that we as the community can actually do because they have now privatized it, so that since they're paying for the service, that when it comes to street cleaning and making sure the maintenance, that we really don't have that much to say. It will be us calling 311 or constantly filing complaints in regards to the restaurants when it comes to the sidewalk sheds.
Mm-mm-mm.
So, more in regards to traffic fatalities, the council has noted that despite the progress under the Vision Zero initiative, there were 260 traffic deaths in the last fiscal year, including 143 cyclist fatalities, which is sad. I do know that also they're doing an expansion in East New York, where I will share that in a later screen in regards to the expansion on that project and how it impacts our community board. So the next one is the transportation projects. The council has passed legislation to improve track and forward transportation projects that contribute to New York City streets. So which this is to kind of give more transparency in regards and accountability to the New York City Council to see what exactly is it that MTA is doing with these projects when it comes to funding, how does it impact us as New York City residents, and then also trying to make sure that the community also gets a fair share. The community board gets to have that outreach and making sure that we are engaged and knowing what's going on in our communities.
Mm-hmm.
So, Northern Manhattan, which is now so in Northern Manhattan, where there tends to be a lot of restaurants, they want to develop what is called a residential parking permit system. This bill was introduced to require Department of Transportation to create residential parking permit systems for the area of only Northern Manhattan. And I believe this will be a pilot program. And if it does go successfully, there could be possibilities this can actually happen throughout the whole entire New York City. Just to keep us up to date in regards to some of the parking, partial sidewalk and parking restrictions from May 19th to 2000, May 19th to June 20th. There will be partial sidewalk parking restrictions in the following locations that is listed on this screen. Please look out. There will be contractors who will probably are supposed to come post and let you guys be aware of what's going on. If not, please call 311 and also report it to our to the community board.
Okay.
Here's some more residential partial sidewalk and parking restrictions in these areas also. But the only difference is this one goes to June 27th of this year. And the following is anticipated work for the upcoming weeks due to rehabilitation of pedestrian ramps at designated locations. These are all of the designated locations, just to give everyone some situational awareness. We did have one on Utica and Linden that I went to go check to see if it was good. It did pass, and I notified DDC in regards to it. And so just to kind of give you some understanding of what's just some initiatives and bills that were passed through council, which is a public safety overview. I'm not sure if everyone is aware about these. So there is a trauma recovery center that opened in March of 2025 that is on Church Avenue. The name of the organization is Rising Ground. It is a recovery center for victims of crime to serve for East Flatbush. Also, member Keith Powers introduced a bill amending the nuisance and abatement law regarding the sale or delivery of cannabis.
That's good.
So that is my chairman's report. Any questions?
Yes.
Yes.
It's in regards to the place on Church Avenue.
The rehabilitation center?
Yes. Do you know the
Mm-hmm.
hours?
I'm not sure, but I would probably ask Detective Skinner because I would assume that they work closely with with them.
Do you know where on Church Avenue it's
Okay.
located?
On 32nd Street, over there by
Okay.
32nd Street, am I correct, Detective Skinner?
I'm not aware of their. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good night, everyone. I'm not aware of their hours. I would
Mhm.
assume it's probably hours of normal business times. But I'm really not aware of their hours, to be honest.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
They are affiliated with the yard. Because I think they're the one who is sponsoring the yard, that organization. So you may want to find out through them too. They are right on Church at Brooklyn Avenue.
Okay.
Mhm. So that's my chairman's report. Again, there's no co-namings, there's no application. So before we go into new business, I want to pass it to Detective Skinner.
Hey, good night, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm gonna give my report. Just to let you guys know, pretty much for the last 28-day period, where we stand and what we're looking at in crime and stuff like that in the precinct. So far for the year to date, what we normally do is from a 28-day period, we look at the month or date of this year. We compare it to last year numbers. So in shootings, for the last 28-day period, that's how we measured. I'm sorry, we're up 50%. We have 6 compared to 4 versus last year. Homicides were down 67%. We had 1 versus 3 last year. Robberies were up 35%, which is 23 versus 17. And again, with the robberies, what we're seeing is it's mostly domestics that we're seeing that they occur from. We don't know why, but it just seems like the majority of these robberies are more domestic and not stranger related. In felony assaults, we have a decrease, about 20%. We have 55 versus 68 last year. In burglaries, we're also seeing a decrease, about 30%, 19 versus 27 compared to last year. Grand larcenies, we saw a slight uptick in it at 13%. We have 60 compared to 53 last year around this time. And I would say vehicles, we did see a slight uptick in stolen vehicles. We have 22 stolen vehicles versus 10 last year. And with the stolen vehicles, it's mainly, again, people leaving these vehicles running to run inside of a store, run inside their house. They're doing a delivery and they just leave the car running and they run in. And pretty much, it's sad to say, but it's a crime opportunity where somebody sees the car running and they just hop in and take off. As far as firearms that we recovered so far for the year, we removed 32 illegal firearms off of the street year to date for 2025. We had a moped operation with unregistered mopeds and dirt bike / motorcycles. And we took, if the number was 40, I think it's like 50 now, I believe, because they did voucher a few more last week. I believe it's close to 50 that we took off to the streets so far. For the month of May, the intercity agency unit that I was telling you guys about that removes like a lot of these derelict vehicles, that combined with the NCOs and sanitation, for the month of May, they removed 175 cars in the confines of the 6-7 precinct. The crime patterns that we've seen, like I mentioned, with the with the GLAs, with these stolen vehicles, it's not just separated to one sector. It's just sprinkled throughout the precinct, which is Adam Boy, probably David and Eddie. It's not, like I said, it's not any specific corridor. It's just what we're seeing is just, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but what we're seeing is the vehicles running. That's one of the crime trends. The other crime trend, what we also seen too within the last 28-day periods was along Sector Adam. We get some robberies and grand larcenies up there. It was pretty much like ATM check cashing places. Pretty much people go in, check, cash their checks, and as they're walking out, people like two individuals or one individual approach and either snatch like the person's purse or snatch like the person's or wallet or whatever the case is. And I think we're doing actually looking into that because obviously stuff like that, it's pretty much like an inside job. So we're trying to see if we can see a trend as far as who's the one and like if they're working at different locations and they're giving off tips as far as like, okay, how do they know that this person in a red jacket, blue jeans just took out X amount of dollars? As far as that, that's all I have for my report. As far as the summer violence plan, because pretty much the summertime is coming, so we're gonna get some more officers to help us out the deployment in different locations. So of course, one of the locations is the 90s, the Church Avenue corridor from pretty much like Nostrand and Rogers down to, I would say, Utica, and Church. Also in Sector Boy, which is by Flatbush Gardens area, like from like Glenwood down to Clarendon, from like Bedford down to like New York. We're gonna have some officers over there as well because we're seeing an uptick in that area as well. So yeah, that's so far that's my report. Anyone have any questions? I'll try to answer the best of my ability.
I don't know if I have a question about your report. Thank you for your report. But what I didn't hear, Detective Skinner, is what is the precinct or department, the police department doing about all the mentally ill people that are moving into this community and, walking the streets. Really, the presence is frightening. It looks like zombies all up and down Utica, starting from Utica and Lenox Road, Clarkson Avenue, Church. There's no one out there. We have nobody that's monitoring or policing these areas. And just recently, a 63-year-old woman got punched in the face coming out of the 99-cent store. It's just frightening to be living in a neighborhood where folks that are clearly, in a situation of mental, where they can't even function for themselves. It's just out in the open. The weather's getting nice.
I'm gonna be honest with you. That's out of our hands. That has to do with
the mayor.
That's gonna have to do with Department of Mental Health, the Department of Homeless Services, stuff like that.
So there's no public safety for people.
I'm not saying there's no public
protection.
safety. I'm not saying there's no public safety, but at the same time, if we see somebody wandering and they look like they may be in let's say a mental, all right, we see that this person maybe somebody that maybe have mental health issues. Legally we can't just stop them. We can't just say, hey, we got to take them to the hospital unless this person is causing harm to themselves or potential harm to somebody else.
No, what I'm saying, Detective, listen, these people are like walking around and standing around people's property as if they live in your home. They stand outside. You mean to tell me if I walk outside my door and there's someone that's clearly a mental patient, okay, how do you think I feel safe? And how does that work? When I'm paying taxes.
I clearly understand where you're coming from, but again, that this is something that over the years it's a tug of war because they don't want to put the mental aspect on the police officers, but then at the same time it falls back on the police officers. But then you have other agencies that supposed to actually do outreaches and stuff like that before we even get involved. So that's why this is something that's like kind of like a little bit bigger than a little bit out of our hands. I clearly understand where you're coming from, because a lot of these shelters, especially the one on Clarkson by Kings County over there, they're allowed they're allowed to walk free and roam free, because it's a shelter where until they come back at curfew. And we've been getting a lot of issues with them with that school over there on Lennox, between might be off 4-5 and 4-6, hanging out over there, walking around. So we've been getting a lot of it. Like I said, we haven't. I'm gonna be honest. I tell people call 911. At least that way we know we have a record of it. But at the same time, it's something that's a little bit bigger than us. I think it's a multifaceted thing, whereby I think, I don't know what falls for them being whereby they can't roam, where they have to stay inside. I don't know what that falls under that criteria of them being allowed to roam and not be, hospitalized or institutionalized.
Like there's no director or someone that, in administration should be having conversations with the police department to say, together, you identify those hot spots where the activities going on. They're camping out. You go on church, you go on Clarkson and Utica, right underneath the liquor store. They're hanging out there underneath the pizzeria Domino's. They're hanging out there by the bank, by the post office. They laying out there. Men, grown, big, scary looking men that are walking around looking like they could do harm at any time. I don't have a gun. You have a gun, right? If I had one, I probably wouldn't even be talking right now, because I would feel more protected. But since I don't have a license to carry, I don't own one.
Yeah.
So that's
Right.
my concern.
I think maybe what we could do is set up a meeting with not only just Detective Skinner, maybe that the shelter, right? The program director for the shelter there, also include the Department of Mental Health and Hygiene and other city agencies that may be involved in this, to kind of come up with some type of solution. Because if this is what a trend is noticing, like it is on them to also provide safety, because of the simple fact that you decided to bring the shelter here, and within that you're supposed to make the community safe. So I can bring that up and try to see if I can reach out to Miss Frazier to see if we can have a space where we can discuss all these issues and concerns.
And that's also on the borderline of two precincts, because the shelter is actually in the 71st, but it's right on our border. So both precincts are affected by it. I've been to a meeting in the 71st about it, and I'm going to be honest with you. Like I said, it's something that a lot of times, when we're at these meetings, we always get asked these questions, but we can never answer them properly because of the fact that it's not our agency. It's the, like I said, Department of Health and Hospitals, the Department of Mental Health, stuff like that. Maybe they can give you guys a better answer as to what. But as far as I know, for our criteria, unless somebody could be walking or hanging out in the corner, and if they're not committing any type of harm, as far as to themselves or somebody else, we can't just pick them up and send them to the hospital.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your feedback, and I appreciate your support in any way, because it's getting out of control.
So, can you mention the locations of where you normally see them? Maybe we can have someone go and just see at what time these people are out there, and maybe if they just see, cops walking down the street or driving by, it may kind of push them to go wherever they need to go to.
So every day in the morning, I would say from 7 a.m. on to 4 or 5, you have a man. He's about 6'4", 240 pounds, maybe. He walks in the middle of Utica Avenue between Linden and Lenox Road. You'll see him pacing back and forth, back and forth. That's one. Then you'll see a lady. Again, she may be about 5'5", 180 pounds. She is walking back and forth, urinating in between the cars. You'll find that between Lenox and Linden, and also in the McDonald's. They all, tend to gravitate over there. And if you look directly across the street by the city bank and the post office, any day you go down there, you'll see them laying out on the benches. There's in particular a few younger, when I say younger, in their 30s, males, and they are clearly, I mean, it's so sad. I don't know what to say, but they look frightening. Like you know, you don't even want to walk past them because you don't know, but they're hanging out, you know, and walking up and down the block. So then you'll see the same individuals going down 51st Street, 52nd Street. They're all in the nooks and crannies. But the hot spots again is from Clarkson all the way, I want to say, to Church, where you'll see a lot of activity. And you know, then they come down the streets. They're really to the place now where some of them are dressed, but you know they're from that shelter because they're walking around with these knapsacks and they're looking for, you know, an opportunity to break in or to I've had them. I had one come through my driveway. And listen, I'm not trying to stir the pot. I'm a resident for over 50 years. I'm 58. So I've been in here since a baby. But my point is that I don't even want to leave my home when I come in from work because I don't know what I'm going to encounter or who I'm going to encounter. And that's not a good quality of life for anybody. You know, you can't feel safe in your own, you know, home because what's outside? If I walk outside my door, they're standing in front of my house. You know, just standing there. I don't know, or sitting across the street from a house and they watch, you know, they watch what's going on. And it's just very uncomfortable. So
They're looking
that's,
for an opening to get into your house.
I
I
know.
had them over there, me too. And
You do.
I told them to get off my property now.
So
You don't have a
Detective
choice.
Skinner, when things like that happen where you see them on your property, right?
Mhm.
Or they're across the street and you know that they're on someone else's property and you know that it's kind of like loitering, but it's not really loitering. What are things that homeowners can do? What tools can we give from NYPD? Can we give them to say, hey, like this is what you can do without having to create
Yeah,
a
like I
confrontation?
said, I always tell people call 911 and let them know, hey, this is a suspicious mail, possibly, you know, possibly a mental issue. On my porch, I asked them to leave, him or her to leave, and you know they refuse to leave because at that point, you know what, you know they're coming on if they're coming onto your property, possible trespass, or if they're just hanging out, let's say on the side of the public sidewalk and they're just on there. Yes, granted, yes, it's in front of your home, but at the same time, you know, if you feel that you don't want to get into a confrontation, I always tell people call 911. I always do.
Yeah.
Call 911. But you do understand it's one of those things, like I said, we're limited of what we can do legality wise. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's just not something where we could just come and okay, yeah, you're going to the hospital, okay, yeah, you're getting arrested. It like legally wise, you know, we still have to treat it like yes, these people may have a mental illness, but we still have to give them the same rights as somebody else that doesn't.
All right. Thank you. The next person I saw a hand was Adele and then Mr. George.
Yes, thank you, Detective Skinner. But I had that issue also, but I told the guy this very sternly from my porch to keep it moving and get off my property. And he just looked at me funny, and I realized he's one of the individuals looking to get into my garage. And I told him there's nothing there, ain't no money in there, keep moving. And he walked down the street back toward the higher 90s and disappeared. And I think I see him once in a while. He'll come in the middle of the Kings Highway, walking up and down, knocking on people's car doors as they stop at the lights. So we have these squeegees now. Then they were banned years ago. That's a law. No squeegeeing in New York City. Period. But now we have them. Again, over here on Kings Highway, where the large intersection is, Detective.
Yeah.
They keep showing up and they show up. Rain and shine, they don't care. They just show up. And I told them, don't touch my car.
What days is that? Because I haven't seen it, to be honest.
I
What days is
got
that?
pictures of given that I got pictures of them. I took pictures. And I sent one of the pictures, some of the pictures to Sergeant Urena. He said,
Mm-hmm.
thank you. I see the cars in the 90s, and
You
I
said
even
Kings
see
Highway,
some
right?
officers.
Mm-hmm.
I see them walk by my door, and I said, hello, officers. And they said hello back and kept walking. They don't get hurt if they're not careful. Pay attention to their surroundings, and they're not. I see them, but they didn't see me.
Miss Adele, you're breaking up.
Yes.
1, 2. Detective's gonna ask you the location.
Kings Highway, Linden Boulevard.
Okay.
You got it? Right there.
Yeah, I'm gonna speak to Sergeant Urena about that.
Yes.
But like I said, you're like the second person saying this, and like when I drive by over there, I don't see it, so that's why I'm asking what times.
They probably see your car coming and they take off. All right. Pictures.
No. Okay, Mr. George, you're next.
Good evening again, all. Good evening, Detective Skinner.
Hey, Mr.
Yeah, basically just a question regarding around the Flatbush Gardens. I must have on the beer, showing my age. But I noticed that recently there's been a lot of activities around there, and even today I saw the God Squad car over there, and I know traffic was closed around there earlier. So I was wondering if there's something happening around here in terms of gang activities or what? Because I know a couple of weeks ago there was some issue after that kid got shot and killed over there. There's been a couple of more incidents in the area. So I was
No,
wondering.
God Squad's pretty much doing their outreaches. They said they're gonna start doing their outreaches throughout the precinct. They had a meeting yesterday, and I guess they summer plan or summer rollout, and they were saying that they're gonna try to start going more often to like more of these hotspots more frequently. So that's
Okay,
why you probably saw them today.
yes, I think today, but
Um,
then earlier someone told me like he was coming on the New York Avenue bus, and they couldn't get through like around Avenue D in that area. They were like over there, the police had a section closed off today.
there was nothing like that as far as police
Mhm.
police matter today that we had anything locked off.
Oh, okay. And then the other thing, my main beef around here now is like the speed, and then people are going crazy when they're driving. I've seen so many reckless driving in this area. And even then last night, I don't know what happened, but a car ran into a house on Farragut. It seemed like it might have been coming from Brooklyn Avenue. Do you have details on that one? Because it was right. Like two doors from Brooklyn Avenue and Farragut. It might have been 3606 Farragut Road, but it ran right into it didn't go into the house, but it broke all the fence and everything and part of the stoop. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that.
Yeah.
As
You
far as
know,
like um the what do you call it, like the reckless driving and stuff. I know a lot of people ask for speed bumps and cameras and stuff like that. Like I said,
yeah.
our highway safety guys, and I've said this, multiple times, we do our due diligence as far as doing a field report, but it always leaves up to the end of it to DOT. DOT has the final say to come out and do the survey and say if they feel it's feasible to put a speed bump or a stop sign or whatever the case is. Just literally 2 days ago, one of our highway safety guys, he did a survey, field report. I forgot which street it was. It was actually, yeah, it was East 91st and East 92nd between Ditmas Ditmison Avenue B, right by Railroad Park over there, because
Yeah.
apparently, they were saying that cars go down those blocks, both of those blocks, and they speed. So he did his survey, he did his report, he sent it into DOT. He suggested speed bumps, and he also suggested what's that thing called? Speed camera. However, he sent it into DOT, but DOT had the final say is coming out and actually doing the survey.
Okay, and talking about speed cameras, because I noticed there was one on Foster and East 37th Street, but they removed it. So I don't, why they would remove it for some section, but definitely there was one there, and it's no longer there.
Yeah,
And
I don't know why they removed that one. Honestly, I don't. I
okay,
don't know why they removed it. I know a while back, I know people were complaining that there were too many speed cameras. So I don't know if that's something that whereby, they removed. I don't know. But I remember at one point people were complaining that there were too many speed cameras. So I don't know if that's one of the ones that got moved or they moved it to a different location. Honestly, I'm not sure because there's a
yeah.
school
So,
right there.
so there's a nonprofit organization, a grassroots organization that was complaining that the number of speed cameras and red light cameras in Black and brown communities tends to be way higher than in the neighborhoods of your Bensonhurst and your Bay Ridge and your Diker Heights and other areas. This was for the whole New York City. So this was some of the negotiations that they did with DOT, where DOT worked with them in regards to taking out as many cameras to show that it was an equity situation versus it not being profoundly in Black and brown neighborhoods where we're seeing more speed cameras and red light cameras.
Okay, but then I would ask if it's possible to have more enforcement, because I mean it's like right now I'm driving, I have to be looking all over the place because I see so many crazy, especially on Foster Avenue and on Farragut Road. Farragut Road is like they're speeding all over the place, going on the wrong side of the street to pass people with traffic coming from the other end, and I've seen too many near misses around here. So I was wondering if something that they could have more enforcement, especially I would say in the like between 6 and 8 o'clock at night. When I'm doing my walking, I see a lot of that, like people speeding and all over the place and going on the wrong side of the street to pass, disregarding the traffic that's coming. I guess expect the other people to slow down for them, So
I
that's what
think
I'm
what
like.
happened was
Mm.
is that they look overall at the number of tickets that were issued, right? Through each of them, and the ones that they saw the least is where they took out some of their cameras.
Yeah, yeah, but what I'm asking is, Detective Skinner, if it's something that I could, if, have more patrol car come around once in a while around that time to see what's happening. Because I say it's really getting reckless.
I'll speak to our highway safety unit.
Yeah.
I'll speak to them, see if they can start doing some enforcement over there.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you said from Forster Avenue, Brooklyn to like that corridor from like Brooklyn down
Yeah,
to
yeah. I would say, like from Utica to at least Brooklyn Avenue or perhaps
right.
Nostrand Avenue, because I'm by Brooklyn, I see a lot of craziness. Like around. So I would say from Albany to New York Avenue, I see a lot the worst. Especially on Foster Avenue, and also Farragut Road, basically they're speeding down the street. But to me, faster is even worse, especially in the Brooklyn Avenue area.
Okay.
Okay.
I know the last time they started doing, well, somebody had asked for more enforcement on Clarendon, which I know those guys went out and they started doing more. So I'll ask them about Foster, like Farragut corridor.
Okay,
Rashida?
thanks a lot. We can,
Rashida?
Yes.
I saw you. I was trying to
Yeah,
get
it's
wait
okay.
in.
I just was about to raise it again to see if somebody missed it. But so
No.
I've been in New York for 29, 30 years. And this is my first time living on this side of Fulton Street. I'm a Bed-Stuy girl, Bushwick. I lived downtown Brooklyn for 4 years, lived in Washington Heights for 12 years. When I first moved over here 2 years ago, just over 2 years ago in May, loved it. I get a lot of business over here. I'm a city contractor and a muralist, and it's amazing for that purpose. But I live near Rogers and Linden, and I currently have about three men between, well, men child, between Flatbush and let's just say Nostrand, who actively harass me. And I have pretty much the 67. I'm glad the community affairs person is on here because 2 weeks before I started cussing people out, I had gone over to the precinct twice to ask about community engagement projects. I'm a mural artist. I work in schools. I did a dot art thing. I did a lot of different community things in the city. So I started a pitch deck about something that I guess would be similar to like the Police Athletic League, but for art, and it has a way better name. But I ended up going there a third time because this man who's been stalking me for like a year and a half realized he was stalking me. I could tell he's a little off, but I blacked out on him about a month ago. Went to the precinct the next morning, let him know. No, went to the precinct the next week when I had to black out on another weirdo that said he was out of work and offered a job. I'm friendly, so I speak to everyone. I don't know anyone, but I speak to everyone. Said he needed it off the books work. Said I might have some for him in the summer. These men drink too much. He acted crazy drunk. I blacked out on him. Went to the precinct the next day. But pretty much at this point, because the third person I have an active restraining order against, Paul McDonald, whatever the judge name is, he's gonna hate me because he improperly closed the case in a year when it was supposed to be a 2 year. The DA's office is dumb. They had to go through all hoops to get it right. And now this man wants to harass me again. So pretty much the 67th precinct, the DA's office, the records office, and anybody else who can hear me is on alert that I'm from a way worse place than any neighborhood I've been in New York City. And I left there at 12 because I didn't want to get shot or end up with 1,000 babies. So everyone is on alert that they need to get these young men under control. I'm 47. I consider that young. They need to get them under control because I come from a military family and I know how to do it. So that's pretty much it.
I'm sorry that you had to go through that. When you went to the 67 precinct, what was the outcome?
Well, they really can't do anything unless something actively happens. So I decided I'm going to, because my gate is on Linden. I like to sit outside. I could go to my roof, but my landlord doesn't want us up there. And I have found that I have arthritis in my knees. I sit on the stoop. I set up my office out there. I sing. I do whatever I want to do. It's my stoop. It's 30 feet from the sidewalk. No one should be stopping at my gate if they don't need to. So the one that I cussed out every time he passed my gate, he want to say something. You know, whatever I told him back really messed up, but whatever. He gonna keep messing with me. You ain't just gonna harass me. I'm gonna harass you back. But I decided next time he say something to me, next time any of those three people say something to me, I'm just down 911. As
So,
long as they
ma'am,
stay, right?
you said that you had an order of protection, right?
Yes, that's against one person.
Okay. Now
And
was
he thought
that
it was over because of the really smart judge who got appointed in, because I did a deep dive on him. He got appointed in 2021, Paul McDonald, McDonnelly, whatever. But the order was for 2 years. It ends next May. He improperly uh, sealed the case, which made the order inactive. So I guess the dude's lawyer told him that. And so he decided to harass me the next day. Like, this is an active case going on right now. So, whatever, I'm going to deal with the DA's office, whoever. I went to the records department to figure out where I found the judge name, all that, because that judge was going to hate me. But basically, I can't, because he didn't murder me. They didn't keep him in on bail. So now he's out in the world. I don't know if he still thinks that the order is inactive, but it's active. And I let everyone know I'm a mural artist. I have a trunk full of tools on me all the time. When I'm walking from my car to my house, I have a bag or a box of tools on me. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, good for you. I'm glad that you have the good, the good sense and will to protect yourself, because they're not going to protect you. It's all, talk. And we're out here in the world, by ourselves. The women, especially Black women, get no protection from the police department. And I hope you don't get offended, Detective Skinner, but I'm speaking my
ma'am,
truth.
for her to get an order of protection, that means somebody was arrested. The DA's office doesn't give out order protections unless somebody's arrested. That has
Right, he was
changed.
arrested, right.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I feel
So
like the 67th precinct of all the offices, of the DA's office, of every office, is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
when it comes to harassment, the only thing that we can do is file a report. We
Right.
we recommend people to go get order protections, but you're not gonna get order protection unless it's something that gravely where you can actually prove that you need order protection,
Right.
or the person
Right.
has to actually commit a crime for you to get arrested for get an order
Right.
protection.
So
As
this is
far as
now his
them,
third time in
as
jail
as far
for
as them
harassing me.
dropping the order of protection, that is something that you would have to take up with the DA's office to find out why they did that.
I know it got fixed. The judge did something wrong. Either he doesn't know his job, or he was being an asshole,
Because
or
I
he
know
doesn't care
sometimes
about
with
Black women.
the order of protection, sometimes they send out letters to the victims to renew it, to come
No,
down,
no,
and
no.
sometimes
I have an order
they don't.
that ends May 13th, 2026. No one notified me when he improperly sealed the case. No one notified me that the order was inactive. I found out because he harassed me from across the street. He lives near me. And this is why I never dated anyone that lives near me, first and last time. But listen, now detectives are calling me because he's he's not who he said he was. So yeah, so it's a lot going on. Like, I'm never scared, ever, 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 ever. But when the cops ask me, is he jealous of you? I say yes. When they ask me, do you think he could kill you? Absolutely. When they ask me like 5 times, am I scared? I'm not scared of nobody, but I'm not going to let nobody harass me either. And there needs to be a bigger police presence, because that's where all the shit happens.
Yeah, ma'am. Like I said, for you to get that, and that obviously the person was arrested, you did what you had to do as far as calling 911. And I always tell people call
Yeah.
911. I know sometimes,
Yeah.
depending on the severity of the crime, you would call 911. Listen,
Right.
at the end of the day, we can't be everywhere at every time. I
Of
know
course.
that's
Of
something that
course.
people would like, but this is reality, and I try to be very
Yeah.
transparent. As far as that, we would love to be everywhere once we call, but just the reality of it is, if I'm coming from Brooklyn and Foster all the way to
Yeah.
Clarkson and Winthrop, I mean Clarkson and
No,
East
Flatbush
46,
is
it's
big.
gonna
I
take
get it.
some time. So,
Flatbush is
the whole
large.
thing about it is, I tell people call 911, let them know what's going on, because if it's something whereby you feel it's going to escalate, let them know, hey, this person,
Yeah.
this person is getting into a verbal disagreement. I don't know what this person is going to do. I am in
Yeah.
fear for my life. If it's
Right.
something that you're going to walk away from, walk away from it.
Yeah.
If you can,
Yeah.
record it. That way, when we get there, hey, this is what this
Yeah.
person is doing.
Right.
And it's not just, well, hey, we can't take a report because we
Right.
didn't witness it in our presence. But if you actually
Right.
can say, hey, we can definitely do a, file a harassment report for you. That's
So I
something
have
that we,
one question, actually a question, since y'all were talking about the security, I mean the traffic cameras. So I happened to be present New Year's Eve, the night that man got dragged a half a mile from wherever that lady hit him on Flatbush to Nostrand. I didn't walk far enough to see him dead on that close to Nostrand, So I don't really care to see dead people. But I drive down Linden all the way to Queens a lot. There's a lot of cameras. I can't for the life of me. Maybe it's because that man was homeless, like a girl that I'm friendly with over here was like, oh, he was a crackhead. I don't care if he was actively smoking crack in the middle of the street. That lady had no right. That lady had no right. And there's no way none of these cameras saw that lady pull off. None. With all the people that called the police and described the car.
Another thing too, what people gotta understand, and it's something a lot of people don't, at nighttime, your visibility gets cut down tremendously. A lot of times when somebody's in the middle of the street and they're wearing dark clothing, you think the car is seeing you, and the car is actually not seeing you. So that's something that also
But,
too, I always try
but,
to tell
but,
people, like, you
when I
know,
tried to run down the street in my flip flops and I realized my shoes were about to fall off and the man ran trying to catch the car was going slow enough that he almost could have caught the car, that she knew something. By the time I saw it at Rogers and Linden, they had started on Flatbush and Parkside. The reason that he died, because he was alive when I saw him, the reason that he died was because when she got close to Nostrand and realized it was an actual person under her car, the next person I talked to, up to the guy that ran after the cars, we're all screaming. I never screamed that loud in my life. Said she jerked the car a couple times to get him off and zoomed off. She knew somebody was under her car.
that incident. I remember that incident. The highway the highway unit actually did an investigation on that. Um, I believe she had gotten arrested later on, if I'm not mistaken. I believe she did, because I know with something like that,
Okay.
with that critical, I believe she
Yeah.
did get arrested.
Well, I periodically look into it. I don't have time. If that was my family, I'd have been on y'all ass. I promise you. But I don't have time. And my friend's like, why don't you just? I don't have time. I have my own things to do. And it's unfortunate that that man has no family, but I feel like I did call several officers and was told different officers to call to get more information on it. And then I just got to a point where I was like, and they don't sound that interested and I just can't. But yeah, hopefully
No,
she got
the
arrested. I'm gonna
detectives
look into it again.
the detectives have their way of notifying next of kin, whether it has to be, I don't want to get too personal in the forum, but whether it has to be dental, whether it has to be
Yeah.
laughing, they always get in contact.
Okay.
Okay, Monica.
I have no idea why my hand is going up, but I'm taking it down. I have no questions at this point, or no comments.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns or issues you would like to bring to Detective Skinner's attention? Going once, going twice. Thank you, Detective Skinner. See you next month.
Not a problem. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.
Do we have Inspector Brian O'Sullivan on the call? Of course not. No, they're not here. Any unfinished business? Any unfinished business?
Yes,
Yes, Miss Adele.
it's with the traffic enforcement and the fact that in this community they do not do the street cleaning. They choose to go elsewhere. Because I know on Georgia's side, I get a lot of complaints. People say, oh, they don't come, you don't see them. I said, because they're choosing not to come. They pick where they want to go, and they don't want to come here. And that's not right. I've told George that. No, but that's what they've been doing. They let them choose their own area. And they say, oh, this area is too dangerous. I said, why? No, it's not. I walk around all the time. Nobody bothers me. Oh, no, it's dangerous. It's dangerous. And I've spoken to them. That's what they tell me. So they choose. But they need to be assigned. This way we have regular enforcement because we don't have it. George will tell you they see them once in a blue moon. Right, George? George, can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you though.
Yeah.
But
Once in a
you
blue
was
moon, how many times do you see traffic over near you?
not too often.
That's it. They're
Rarely.
supposed to be doing it regular, but like I said, they allow them to choose where they want to go. And even if in a nighttime cleaning for the trucks, we can't get them because they'll go to Coney Island, Bay Ridge, Bensonhurst. They won't come here. And the commander's right in the middle of our area. In fact, you, along with your transportation, legally is over them. All the bills for that building go right into that office in Farragut.
I am going to work with Nadine in regards to emphasizing the importance and kind of let him know that we kind of need them to regularly check in with Community Board 17. And if it doesn't work with Inspector Brian O'Sullivan, it's to kind of go over him and let it be known like this is our issues and here's our gripes. What I may need from everyone is to send me an email in regards to what are some of the biggest issues and concerns when it pertains to traffic for CB17 so that I can have this running list and so that when we do send this email to them, like this is not something that we're saying, oh, it's a one-time issue. No, here's a list of all the issues and we need some type of resolution. If you're not going to come, okay, fine. You don't want to come, don't come. But provide us with resolutions.
Well, the problem is they have a new manager. They don't have commanding officers. Well, they have no commanding officers there. The El Civilian have a new manager. And I don't know, she's another lady there she was working with us. Her name was Sharon, and she was very, very good. Beckford. Anytime they called, she would send them. Not ask them, send them. She doesn't know this. I don't know if she knows this is going on, or maybe she's just doing status quo and letting them do this. But I've spoken to many of them. They choose where they go, and they tell me, "Oh, it's dangerous. You manage to come to work. You took the job. You do the job. You just have to be able to handle yourself. And if you can't, then move on to another job." But this is what's going on, and this is how they're treating us. And
Yeah,
it's not
I'm
right.
working. I see it, and I'm working closely in regards to trying to figure out what is some of the resolution. Like, I've been trying to get FDNY to come and do their presentation on their safety report about in regards to the fires that are taking place in our community and what are ways to mitigate it.
Yes.
And it's been going back and forth. I'm trying to get DOT to also come to to come to our meetings. And it seems to be a ongoing battle when it comes to city agencies. But that doesn't stop me. I'm very determined. I'm very determined to make sure that regardless of what, that if you're spending time, because I see them when I do go to other community boards. When I go into Queens, I see representation from several city agencies, and it's not the library; it's city agencies there. You're seeing NYPD, you're seeing traffic, you're seeing DOT, you're seeing DEP, you're seeing HUD. You're seeing a lot of them, so it's just very weird and awkward. For I don't have the understanding of why they don't come to Community Board 17's meetings, or just some of the committee meetings pertaining to, especially when it's public safety and transportation. Like even with us with the new, what is it called? The new secretary for Human Health and Services, and how he has this whole thing about in regards to safety and public safety in regards to health. how does this impact the water? Because he wants to take out certain things that are inside the drinking water that we drink it. Trying to get DEP to come and even just talk about that has been a struggle. So even trying to get NISM to come in, because yes, we it's for flooding safety. You know, hurricane season is right around the corner, and with climate change changing, how does this impact our community? So I'm looking into everything. It's just been a struggle in regards to getting everyone to be in alignment, and then also just to clean up some of the stuff that's been going on with just our committee when it comes to staff, not to staff, but when it comes to the members, into making sure that how do we get more people to be more engaged? What are some of the ways to get people to kind of say, hey, you have these committees that you can be a part of, and you can find your resources and find out information about what's going on. And it seems to be there's a disconnection when it comes to community engagement. Hopefully the person that they do hire for the community board 17 that does community engagement will help to enhance that.
I hope so. Because it seems to me that all those agencies that don't show up, they have no respect for us. None. They have respect for other community boards, but not.
Yes, DOE too. I'm Rashida.
Oh, yeah. But as for DOT, he's brave. He'll come. You just have to contact him.
Yeah.
Because he
So
called me.
I'm working on that.
Yeah, I talked to him last week.
Okay, perfect.
This is crazy. It makes no sense that we get the short end of the stick. And we get
I
kicked
don't
in
want us to get that. I want us to say that I think compared to other community boards, I think there's a lot of things that we have accomplished that we have that's going on that makes us so tenacious. I think sometimes it's just the priorities of certain city agencies and, you know, politics. Politics plays a big major role. You know, if let's say elected officials are not in alignment with some of the DOT or whatever city agency is, they may be the last on that list compared to the ones that are in alignment. You know, I think some of the concerns even now that we should be looking at are the things that are about to develop with MTA, with this train system, the air trail, the AirTran. Also the stuff that's about to develop with Con Ed and these these subroof, I don't even know what they're called anymore. All these things that are about to take place within Con Ed. Then what was brought to my attention was that, you know, they are still trying to expand on the city bikes, and now it's going into Brownsville and East New York. And how that impacts us. But it impacts us, but then also there's a lot of things that are happening. You know, we talked about the Mixed Atlantic initiative, where the community where it was this new plan that they wanted to develop, and they're saying because of housing that they wanted to develop this program to build more high rises on Atlantic Avenue. And we know that the reason why they're doing it is that if they do this, which they did approve the plan, so this is going to take into effect. The sad part is that what now happens is Atlantic Avenue will no longer be Atlantic Ave will no longer be a 3-lane on each side. It will only be 2 lanes. They're going to expand the sidewalks so that they can expand the sidewalks and then also create a bike lane.
They expand the sidewalks, bump it out.
Yeah,
they go higher.
They're gonna. Yeah. So we all see what's about to happen. So this now look at Atlantic Avenue as a 2-lane street on each direction. They're saying that it's going to help for housing because they'll be able to build allegedly up to 426 new housing based off of this, but it will take away lanes. So now, just to let you know, this plan has been passed.
That's
you
a
know, the
shame.
stuff with,
The community voted no. All the communities voted no, but they ignored
yeah.
it.
So we have that. We have the stuff that's going on with City Bike. From prior to me, I was speaking to the chair, Rod, Dr. I'm supposed to say Dr. Daly, Mr. Daly, in regards to what happened and how they were told that City Bike and will take away some of the bike lanes from our community board, but that has not happened. And so now it's kind of engaging them back to say, hey, what's going on? What streets are you going to take away some of these city bikes lanes, and where are you going to take some of these city bikes off? So because right now it's creating more frustration in regards to parking. But that's why I said that that bill that they're about to pass for Northern Manhattan can also, if it does work well, can kind of be beneficial to us as a community, right? Because if they start to do things like how they do in other states where you have to get your parking passes and you can't do this residential parking permits, then it can stop a lot of the issues that we are having. But then it also creates like there's really no more public parking if we start to do it on particular streets, or what streets or what neighborhoods.
People are going to be towed away massively. This is going to happen.
Mm-hmm. So these are just things that I kind of wanted to let everyone kind of know what's going on, because sometimes we don't hear about it until the very end, and these are things that they are doing. So if they start to do these pilot programs or these pilot projects, know that if they're doing a pilot project, they want to see if it's successful. If it's successful, then it's going to happen. They're going to try to implement it for all 5 boroughs.
Mm-mm-mm. They're trying to make
And
So can I say something real quick?
mm-hmm.
So I thought parking was bad in Bed-Stuy 2 years ago, but I never looked around for more than 20 minutes. Parking over here is crazy. And I work in all 5 boroughs, including Staten Island. I see these people clean up in front of their houses. There's no reason alternate sides should be 2 days on each side of the week, on each side of the street. Absolutely no reason. I see my super clean up. I see all the supers clean up. I know it gets filthy over here because it's more a commercial area, but the businesses clean up. Everyone cleans up. And if there's already a fine for people having garbage in front of their properties or businesses, then we only need it one day on each side of the week. Like I've been collecting people numbers, sitting in my car or driving around or moving around because I mostly work from home. It's ridiculous. Then I'm trying to call every little parking space I see to see if they got spaces. No, and all these Jews on it, and all. I'm sick of it. I'm not going to pay $400 for parking in a building that the weirdo I have a restraining order against lives in. When people clean up, people clean up. There's no reason the street should be locked up on both sides 4 days a week. It's crazy. It's crazy. And I go to neighborhoods where people also clean up. They have beautiful mansions and things I didn't even know existed in Brooklyn until 2 years ago. Albemarle Road. Oh my God, these houses are phenomenal. One thing
Yeah.
that my white friend told me over 20 years ago when I was looking for the New York Times in my Bed-Stuy bodega before anybody wanted to live in Bed-Stuy in 1998, I said, I can't get the New York Times. I need it for my class in school. My white friend said, the difference between us and y'all is that y'all complain to each other. We call the New York Times and get it done. And I have taken that with me. I have an economics class for the first time in 27 years when I got my associate degree. I don't remember nothing about that class, but it's my favorite, absolute favorite class because it's about society. Like we all have to do better for sure.
And I think that's what it is. And I think by us being in this space, by making sure that you know that we have these meetings, and you come back the following month to give updates and let us know what's going on. And you also include another person to come and join on these calls.
I've been trying to get on these meetings. I was into it in Bed-Stuy before we had the internet and I could talk to you people on here. I was very into politics back then because I was coming from Morgan State University, transferring to FIT, where at Morgan State we had to learn about Black politics. We had to learn about all these things. And even though I don't remember taking economics, it definitely sat with me because as I move around the city, I lived in only 2 boroughs, but a lot of different neighborhoods, and I see the differences. I've traveled a lot, and I see how society runs. Like I have solutions. I left messages for the sanitation department about this dumb composting fine. I'm not going to get into it now because I could go all day on this. I was so, I've never been so mad watching the news in my life. 6 o'clock in the morning, watching them talking about people being fined for a system that was not properly put in place. These big cans they got on the end of the street taking up my parking, make half of that composting instead of giving a 20 apartment building a little bin that I could fill in a week because I eat fresh fruits and vegetables every day. The city needs
Yeah,
help. People are overworked. People are understaffed. And there's enough people that need work. It's crazy.
I hear everything that you're saying, and we're taking all this into the spaces of where it needs to be told, so that we can make sure that our elected officials know you work for us, you need to represent us, and this is what we are for and what we are not for. I don't know if there are any other new business. If there is, please raise your hand, or just none. Any unfinished business that we have not discussed? Okay. I need someone to make a motion to adjourn.
I, George State, make a
Anybody?
motion. Oh, I started to do it. I, George
Mm-hmm.
State, George State, make a motion to adjourn the CV 17 Public Safety Committee meeting at 8:48 p.m.
Thank you. I need someone to second it.
Second.
Judith Aaron's I'll second the motion to adjourn.
Thank you. I second. It's adjourned. Thank you to everyone for being able to attend. I hopefully will see everyone tomorrow at the precinct council's meeting that will take place. I think it's at 7:00, right, George?
No,
It's
not
a Zoom?
tomorrow.
No,
No,
this
It's
is
a Zoom?
Leonie
tomorrow.
Logan. Hi.
Yeah.
The precinct count. This is Leonie Logan. The precinct council meeting is going into the following week because it's with Juneteenth, clashing with Juneteenth. We're
Got
respecting
it.
Juneteenth.
Okay.
Is that a virtual meeting or in person?
It's in
In
person.
person.
Yeah.
Can
We are
somebody
still
send me
on-
the details for that?
Excuse me.
Can someone send me the details for that?
If you give me your email, I can email it to you when the notice comes out.
I'm gonna put it in the chat now.
Okay.
Yeah. Leonie,
Thank
what's the date? What's the date again?
The date is going to be on the 22nd.
The 22nd. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. I'm just waiting. So
Okay.
also just an FYI to everyone, just to let everyone know.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I was looking on the wrong calendar. It's June 26th.
June 26th.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm gonna
Mhm.
probably
No
be
problem.
out of town for that one, but I'm gonna try to make it. But I sent I put my email
Good
address.
night.
Please
Thank
send me.
you.
Okay.
Okay.
Good
All
night,
right. Good night.
everyone. Thank
Night,
you.
Good
everyone.
night.
Stay warm, stay dry. Enjoy the rest of your night.
Night.
Nadine, you can stop recording. Good night, everyone.